27, just locked in for V3.
Right, I'm 26 at the minute. So looking at Azir and Ezreal being hovered and about to be locked in here. Yeah, is locked in for the side of the Hawks. Azir is one of those things which Ramane does know how to play exceptionally well. Ezreal, safe pick, become a higher priority recently, so not surprised to see that one picked up.
No, I'm not surprised at all. We've seen Honey also play Ezreal. Ezreal is either a champion you play or you don't, especially for the pros. It's very much a flavor of the month. Some players love playing Ezreal, some players just decide to invest more time into others. A very interesting matchup against the MF, obviously. That is a skill-based matchup, relatively speaking, with positioning being arguably the most important thing.
But look what's been locked in for V3. Boogie is back to that Echo, and that is huge stuff. I have been a massive fan, even though the fastest game in the split was when Boogie was on the Echo and diving everybody. And it's also the Misfortune locked in for Archer.
But Ramane, or rather Pooh, has now got that Ornn, and against an MF and against Ornn, it's incredibly important for him to use that those ults just to stay ahead so he doesn't fool around, and that's really good at blocking so many different ults at so many different opportunities.
Indeed it is, and we'll see what the response is in Phase 2. Braum pickup, as you said, very good stuff. Just going to see what Phase 2 bans will be from the Hawks. Not quite sure yet. I think I might be a second or two behind you after that pause, by the way. So okay. I think the Rakan is banned now. Just come through. And see what the response is from V3. I quite like the Rakan ban from Reyna. I think it is a strong engage, matches up with the Ornn quite well. Like, yes, Braum can block out the Ornn Horn, but he's not so good versus that Rakan. So blocking off that second engage is probably not a bad idea. Jarvan, the ban also from V3.
Yeah, Jarvan coming in, pretty standard. I think you just want to kind of hurt the engage from Tussle, especially when Boogie has picked up his Echo. Zoe coming in for the side of the Hawks. I don't hate that. We've seen Ace play that sort of thing. It's going to be interesting to see what the mid laners are going to be. Obviously, it could be the probably Ramane playing this. Azir obviously wants to be protected. Obviously, V3 already banned the LeBlanc, which is normally a champion that Azir doesn't really want to play in, and then we get the Rek'Sai to just end it out.
Yeah. Okay, the Rek'Sai has come through. I think I'm still a second or two behind you, actually. That's
okay.
Gonna catch me off. I keep seeing, like, oh man, he's speaking from the future. Prophet, as well as host and colorcaster. Man of extreme talents, apparently. Many talents indeed. But that's what we get for trying to sync ourselves off weird timings. But Honey looking at potentially picking up Lee Sin for Tussle, which would be another one of those early game champions. Does lock it in now. And that is a very strong pick in the jungle. Well, strong early in that jungle, can potentially get into Echo's jungle and make him feel a little bit sad early on, maybe. We'll see how it goes, but of course, Echo will scale so much better than the Lee Sin.
Yeah, this Thresh pickup, though, from the side of E3 for Reyna, I do like it a lot, even though it is very hard to ever land it on an Ezreal. If you do, that's basically game over for Ezreal, because if you can get out of it, you can. If you can't, well, you're done. And it's going to be interesting to see what they pick up in this mid lane.
Yeah, I doubt it's the Nautilus.
My God. Hovering. Let me know when you get there.
Okay. We'll lock in. And yeah, just hovering it. Is it going to be locked in? Let's see. Yeah, just locked in now. Nocturne mid one more time. V3 running it back with the Misfortune Thresh, and their massively effective win was when they had an Echo and a Nocturne to just dive bot consistently. And it's 2 Nocturne mid games in a row. What are the Hawks even going to respond to this? Azir going to be struggling. Pooh locks in the Camille for Dasher, though, who's going to be going back to that champion. Had a pretty decent game into Evie's Aatrox on it, I remember correctly. Got a solo kill on that champion.
And rather thankfully, I've been able to pause effectively and line up with you perfectly before we go into the game.
It's good to be back with you. I've caught up through the streams of time, and we're back in sync. And actually, what it's actually going to be is not a Nocturne mid, but a Nocturne jungle and Echo mid. But the premise is still the same, looking at it. There's still a bit of time to flex it around.
10 seconds. Are they going to do it?
Yeah, we'll see. And we've seen this team do it, and yet they flexed it around. I called it too early. Echo in the jungle. And that is another
That's it.
run back for Boogie. I made an assumption because we've seen this team do it the other way around before. And I was like, wait, no, Nocturne can still go jungle. And that means we've got this massively accelerated Nocturne in the middle lane who get the solo lane experience, can get to level 6 that much earlier. And the bot lane from the Hawks has to be prepared to have everything and the kitchen sink thrown at them to try and kill them. At least it's a Braum and Ezreal who are fairly safe. But if they don't manage that wave correctly, if Dasher can't get down or punish the teleport from Ornn leaving it, or the Nocturne who just gets down there and Azir can't punish, this game could absolutely be a run back to that second game of the split where V3 ran over the competition.
So, personally, I really like V3's draft. The problem is the Hawks have such a good response in their bot lane. It's such a weird thing. It's like V3 did a really good draft except for the bot lane, where Honey and Poo picked up far better champions in the grand scale of things against the comp of V3. Now, the only problem is I don't know how good Dasher's Camille is, which is the important thing.
Yeah. And there you have it. It is the official LJL stream game of the week. And I can kind of see this because this is one of those games which could determine standings quite a lot. And looking at those drafts, I can't blame them for putting this game down as the game of the week. And we have screaming Japanese adverts telling us it's game on, and here we are into game.
Every time I see that, man, I always chuckle to myself. Ladies and gentlemen, you can't normally hear me chuckle, though. That's the only difference.
I'm fairly sure I've mentioned the long man advert a number of times, but for those who are kind of tuning in for the first time, go do yourself a favor. Google Japanese adverts, and specifically long man, and you'll understand how Japanese television kind of functions in an entity. Namely, that they kind of are probably on some kind of mind-altering substance when they go for it, because those things are trippy as all hell. There's so much randomness going on. They have all these kind of bizarre storylines across multiple adverts. There's music and glitter and anime, and it's all in there. And you kind of got a mild glimpse there as a man screaming about vitamin supplements in bottles.
And then it's game on.
And it just screams game on, exactly. And Boogie is going to start with the Raptors and no leash one more time. We've been seeing this a little bit more. Game pause in, though. And once again, you're here to join me and I don't have to call you back in.
No, you don't have to join me. I'm wondering what that pause is for. Everything looked fine for Boogie, so...
Yeah, we'll have to see. We're kind of focusing on the Hawks here. And again, we have no access to... the production from the LJL side. So a lot of this is kind of conjecture from us. We are panning across the Hawks, which suggests it's something potentially for these guys. Might well be something like a headset issue. It's normally something we do here early on in the game. So it might well be something like that. Should be a fairly swift fix. Until that point, though, I'm happy to chat with you, Masked Swan. What are you thinking about these team comps? Because they are so different. The Hawks have got... kind of a really standard 4-1 comp. Azir's a control mage with a lot of zone control. We've got Azir Braum, which is very safe.
Yep.
And we've got a Camille, which loves to split push. It'll be the second time we've seen Dasher pick that up.
This is definitely a Hawks comp where they really want to just keep applying the pressure. This is not the first time we've seen them do this kind of comp before, and it's worked out really well, though, and they do get that slight edge, and they do get ahead. The only difference is this is against a V3 comp, who, again... I'm very surprised Ornn has been let through. Ornn is such an important champion, and they keep just... 2 games in a row we've seen Ornn go through, and to the side that arguably drafts slightly better, except that we got this Nocturne mid again, which was kind of a question mark. Was he really relevant in that match as we do get back into the game? I'm a slight... question mark on Nocturne. I think he is very relevant and very important, but I'm not sure if I believe he is the actual game breaker for both of these two teams that have played him.
Well, we'll see, because the thing is, with a Thresh and a Misfortune, you can absolutely push in this wave. Ezreal is kind of relying on his Qs for wave clear, and yeah, that's good at level 1, but as the kind of levels come in, Archer and Rain are probably going to be wanting to continue the pressure here, keep Honey and Poo under tower, and then look for a dive. On the other end of that, though, it is an Ezreal, it isn't Braum. Not the easiest champions to dive, I would suspect. Do you play a bit of Braum, Lexi?
I play a bit of Braum. I'm far more passionate about my Thresh. Whoa! Wow.
Yeah, that's a Twitter thread.
More people expected Sengoku to beat DFM than people are expecting V3 to beat the Hawks.
There's a lot of faith that's been lost for a V3 over the last few weeks, you've got to feel.
But I mean, then it's not undeserved. This is a team that has been consistently underperforming and not performing to the expectations that was very high upon them. They were expected. This was a team that made the semi-finals, looked incredibly strong in all facets of their lanes, had a pretty good summer split, and this spring split for them has looked pretty medium. Now, there were a lot of changes between this team. As we've said, there's a brand new bot lane in, and jungler. Is it mid laner as well? Was Ace in the original lineup? I can't remember.
Ace was in the original lineup.
He was.
Do you want to kind of, before we continue, do you want to give a quick heads up that Tussle kind of read Boogie's path and did have to do the sort of full red side clear into a back, and that meant that Tussle went from his blue, cleared his blue side, and went straight over to V3's blue and took that away from Boogie. And of course, on the Echo, can be a little mana intensive. And that means that Boogie's not going to have that for the first clear. And actually, Dasher pushing in pretty hard onto this Ornn, and Tussle continues the invade onto this Echo. We did call the Echo could be punished a little early, can be a little slow on his first clear. And right now, at least, Tussle finding some advantages, at least early, over this Echo.
Yeah, and this is something that we hinted at earlier, well, rather you hinted at Initialize. This is a spot where Tussle, as we've seen, is a very aggressive jungler, as a lot of poke goes down onto Ace, but he's able to walk off. Tussle likes to get into the middle of things, really wants to be applying a lot of pressure, and Boogie is normally the exact same. They both are aggressive junglers, except Boogie is on the slower jungler, I guess would be. Really wants to get that 6 to really apply pressure and can do crazy dives with
good hook onto Ezreal there. No, that's a great double play as well. And Archer and Archer and Reyna putting out a fair amount, but Honey now dashing forward with the door that went up from Pooh, tries to trade it back. Still is in the favor of V3, but actually because of the Guardian, because of the shield, means that I don't think there was all that much there to trade.
Yeah, landing a hook alone onto an Ezreal is going to be so hard. Getting any damage is going to be
parallel conversion comes through and that hook does miss, so nice attempt from Boogie. And like, there is something about Echo does have very hard CC. That parallel convergence is huge area effect stun. It's just a little hard to line up so it lands. So having something like a Thresh to put the first CC out to kind of guarantee the parallel convergence landing is potentially massive. So, yes, Echo loves his 6. It makes it so much easier for him to tower dive. But before that point, it's not like he's out of options with that parallel convergence, assuming there's a fair amount of setup. And let's be honest, Ornn has that setup with all his CC in his kit. We've seen in the bot lane, there's definitely that option. And Ace can join him. When he only picks up one more level, he's very nearly to that paranoia level 6 mark. Ramone gets there first, but it means that this will be hit on this wave for Ace. And Boogie just backs was hanging out in that bush. I wondered whether we go for the gank, but back to relative parity is a fairly big CS lead though for Archer and Reyna in this bot lane, and that hook nearly landing again. At least Honey and Pooh are kind of at, got a bit of a wave to pick up, and will hopefully even out the CS lead a little bit.
As we see, Tussle is going to start this dragon, and I think Drake control is going to be super important for the side of Sengoku. Well, not Sengoku. I see the SH again. It's the Hawks.
SoftBank Hawks, yes.
I've been so good with it. The Hawks really do need to kind of apply a lot of pressure. With an Ornn, as we saw in that previous game, you can kind of give up a few things because you do have that Ornn advantage coming into that mid and late game, just getting that power spikes with the Ornn items. But it is going to be important. We don't want to see a repeat for V3 where they let too many objectives go in the early game and then fall very far behind, and Boogie just isn't able to actually pick up the rest of the slack that the team just weren't able to help him with.
Reyna went looking for a roam, but ran across a ward, and that means it was a fairly easy shot for Honey and Pooh in the bot side. Gets them a free reset, and that wave, that CSA that we'd kind of seen a little bit, is still there, but not massively, because Archer had to back away from the wave touch with his support back and going for a bit of a roam. And Ezreal has got the teleport, isn't going to burn it though, he's going to walk his way back. Or I say that, but he leaves Fountain, realizes the wave's been pushed in pretty hard, decides to TP back to claim this wave.
Yeah, and this game is going very similarly to our first game of the day for us. Not a huge gold advantage. Yes, the Hawks did gain the Dragon, but that's not doing a huge amount in the grand scale of things. Herald is coming up in 30 seconds. I can imagine there might be a slight vision aggression or fight around there, but in the grand scale of things, no one lane is winning or losing. There is a slight advantage in this top lane for Dasher.
Yeah, and we've also got to see, like, yeah, Paz is going in, but Tussel's here. Ward hops to Paz. Paz throws out the call of the Forge God, gets kicked before he can put the R2 out. Flashing now, but I think he's still dead. Just claimed by Camille there. Well played from the side of Dasher and Tussle. Burn all the flashes in that top side, and that could be some return ganks either way. But Camille now off to a pretty good lead. No teleport for this Ornn as well means it's going to be an even bigger loss with the CS deficit.
Yeah, I do wonder if Paz thought about ulting, maybe just flashing for safety might have been more worthwhile. He could have flashed away and...
maybe under his turret, yeah, because I mean, the problem is you can't flash out of the Hextech ultimatum is the thing, right?
No, but he basically called the ult and then got killed. He got kicked away as he could have flashed instead.
Yeah, so it is a bit of a question. Honey takes a lot of damage from double ups there, but at least a decent return. And Tussle starting up the Rift Herald, but Boogie is here to contest, does have level 6 now. And of course, Lee Sin just used his kick, so Boogie definitely at the advantage in this fight. Tussle's here, but we're seeing the assist me pings coming down. Tussle now going, and there's the Nocturne ult, and Lee Sin caught out. Gotta realize that Nocturne can join you from wherever you are. That's going to be Rift Herald over to the side of V3, and a nice pick up by Boogie and Ace.
Yeah, and what's also great about this is Paz was aware of what was happening, couldn't do anything, so push the wave up, and then they can secure this without even having to worry about topside, as we see those pings coming out from Dasher. With Paz being missing, makes total sense, and that was just really well communicated. Ace using that ult from Nocturne aggressively and doing something that we didn't see so much in our previous game, and that's why you pick this Nocturne. You want to get those early quick pickup kills, and then you just reset back to lane.
Yeah, Echo and Nocturne with their level 6s available can just blow somebody up. There is that absolute potential where you just find a target and dive really hard after them. I mean, Nocturne does have his phase dive, has got that chrono break to pull himself out of danger if he goes there. Nocturne joins in, is on his way to either a Ghostblade or a Duskblade of Drakthar. It is the Duskblade first, unsurprising when you can stay out of vision so easily with the Paranoia active. It's a nice pickup there. And well, not first blood, but rather first kill for V3, at least, over the side. The win condition is still there for the Hawks, though. Look at Dasher, who's picked up a very big CS, and Paz is going to have to ult just to get wave pressure, is terrified of this Camille getting towards his tower, especially with the Infernal Drake spawning in a minute. Just trying to make sure he doesn't lose everything in this lane. Wants to kind of set up for the dive in this bot side, because here is Boogie. They want to shove into this tower and want to make sure that Dasher can't trade as easy in the top side. Rift Herald summoned as well. Yeah, that's going to be first turret over the game of V3. Well played.
Yeah, that was really well played. They played around the map really well, and they know that this dragon's coming up very soon, so they wanted to kind of set up, get the vision down. Bot lane's going to reset for Reyna and Archer, going to recool, probably get back in time because it's 30 seconds still on the clock. Just going to be a really nice play around the map, and a really nice time for bot lane for V3 to actually reset, because they're going to come into this dragon fight with the most amount of money spent, and picking up a BF sword as well for Archer.
Yeah, it is fairly huge, and like that is a big, and we're seeing a fairly big CS lead there. It's not as big as the 30 in the top lane for Camille, who is so far ahead with that first blood and that kind of kill that cost Ornn all those items. But again, Ornn can be fairly low economy, right? He doesn't need all that gold. The issue is whether Camille can get snowballed ahead to really push that sideline. Reyna comes in with the Moby Boots, looks for a pick on the Ramonade, doesn't find it. That's the power of the shifting sands, can just shuffle away. And Archer and Reyna now in mid lane alongside Honey and Pooh. But the Infernal Drake has been started in the meantime by Boogie, who is here to claim second Drake for V3. Boogie having a decent impact in this early game, and his Echo is really clean once again, we're seeing.
Yeah, and while that was happening, Ace was able to push up. Obviously, if there was a slight concern for a fight, Ace was able to just Nocturne ult, get back in, see what's happening. It's Paranoia, his ult, correct?
It is indeed Paranoia.
Okay, I am right with that. Was a little bit too scared to say that forcefully.
You're paranoid, one might say.
Oh.
See, like it's all coming together. Much like this Ocean Rift, which is here. You know, we're turning up into spring now in the real world. Definitely looking like that on the board for V3. That means A lot more wards for Echo to be hiding in, and of course, Ocean Soul is just so good, and that means whoever picks it up, if it even gets to that point, will have 3 Ocean Drakes and an Ocean Soul. A lot of sustain and massive team fight suggestion. Boogie takes a lot of damage, but is going to continue going forwards, does have the Chrono Break. Dasher does stay out of the parallel convergence, though, and that means it's just a chunk onto Boogie, who, of course, had the Chrono Break available, so was probably safe, but ouch, all the same.
Oh yeah, 100%. That's an ouch, but then not having to use the Chrono Break is also a very nice thing to be able to just kind of get out without having to use it is always the spot you want to be in. As we can see, the gold lead that Archer has got is still about the exact same. Nothing huge has really changed. Dash is still rather ahead on this Camille. And items are going to be hitting these spikes very soon. Upon next backs, one would expect, to be honest.
Yes.
What?
So, like, we're seeing the gold lead effectively just being from that first tower now for V3. So that's where they've got their lead, but it is very close. And, Azir has been kind of scaling kind of happily in this mid lane. This Camille has reached her Trinity Force, got that first blood to her name. So, like, Hawk's not in a bad position right now, but neither are V3. And with the Ornn available, Boogie's looking pretty good on this Echo. Kind of want to see some more out of this Echo Nocturne pick. We never saw a dive towards the bot side, and potentially we need to see, as we kind of crest into the sort of the mid game, I guess, a little bit more out of that duo to really sort of solidify a lead for this team, I guess. Or at least that's my read.
Yeah, no, I would definitely agree with you. This is a team, though, that would love to get this Ocean Drake, offering so much sustain for one an Echo and an Ornn to just be able to hang around with a Thresh as well. That gives them so much sustain to just continuously apply loads of team fights. These are champions who have lots of engage on relatively short cooldowns as well. So an Ocean Drake really emphasizes that. Whereas also the side of the Hawks would also probably
I have to interrupt you, I think, though, because Honey is being run down by Reyna, who misses the hook. We saw a little bit of an attempted convergence there on the top side. Honey was by himself, but it is stopping a lot of pressure onto this tower. And I'll let you get back to talking now. I thought there was going to be a little more out of that than there actually was, as fight over the red buff continues, actually.
Yeah, they're still fighting. They're still fighting even though it's gone.
Yeah, there's a lot of attempts at fights here that don't quite pull off for either team. Archer and Rain, they've got massive pressure onto this turret still. And with Ace and Boogie in the darkness up here, ready to dive, Ramane and Tussle have to rotate up as well. And we're seeing a lot of posturing around this turret as the second Rift Herald is now live as well. So I wonder whether that's going to be a bit of a contest, as Ramane did take a hook but didn't want to go in on that, did the rest of V3. Wait, parallel convergence just misses. Oh my days. So much attempts, so many attempts as Tussle's going very deep on that Sonic Wave into the Resonance Strike. That's a good Chrono Break in for a lot of damage, and Ace is in the back but gets kicked away. The spell shield with Broken Man, he couldn't stay where he was, and Ace takes a lot of damage on the retreat. Dash is in the backline looking to get onto the back there. It's an okay hook shot.
Sorry,
you're back again.
We had huge technical problems over here.
No.
So
I kept talking, hoping people could hear me. I assume by the fact you weren't talking to me, there was no one there. So I'm glad to have you back into this moment. It's a pleasure. Hook lands onto the Lee Sin, who does manage to get out of the paranoia, but Boogie's finds his way to the back with a huge parallel conversion. Archer slays that Lee Sin, and the Hawks suddenly just lose that 1-for-1. Well played by the side of Boogie and Ace using the ult on cooldown. And that time it was a lot better than the last engage.
What time are you on, sir?
I'm at 17:54, 55, 56.
Could you
57.
pause?
I can. Continue going forward, and you'll see quite a good fight from V3.
Yes, I am seeing this very nice fight. They do pick up a kill for Archer, and then it...
Tell me when you get to 17:58, and I'll come and join you back at sync.
Okay, sounds very, very good. 17:58 in 5, 4, 3, 2, press play.
And we're back. That's what we get for trying to do things across various computers with internet that's never consistent. Alas, such are stream difficulties. We don't have a studio here. It's all done off our back. Things like this can occasionally happen. So apologies if you were a little confused about what went on there. As a bit of a kind of hash of it, Boogie and Ace found a good dive and picked up a kill. Lot cleaner than the last engage that was in the jungle. Archer was around this time was the big difference. Picked up that kill onto Tussle. But Dasher now starting up this Ocean Drake unbeknownst to V3.
And this is a really good pickup. They've been playing the vision game far smarter in spots where they're like, oh, this is an objective we need to aggressively play around. We will get this objective. And now V3 finally get this top lane turret that they have been so religiously trying to push for the last few minutes.
Absolutely, but it does put them to a 2-turret lead, and that's giving them about 1,000 gold lead. And I'll tell you why it's only 1,000 gold leads, because look at that Camille CS. There's a Trinity Force and a Hydra. This is kind of what people can do into Warn. Like, there are counter picks available, but you have to kind of index into something that's split.
Wow, that gold.
Camille is one of those things, and that is a massive gold lead. That's like over 1,000 gold in advantage. It's similar in the bot lane, though. Archer is very strong. And incoming Nocturne looking to punish this Camille, who's pushing alone on the side lane. That is the risk. Nocturne can join you and just picked up being a little aggressive. We've seen it from Dasher before. Kind of thinks he's in a 1v1, is very much not. The Hawks are looking to trade on this mid lane turret.
And that would be a really good pickup if they're able to get this bot lane turret. It really would open up the map, but... Ooh.
Bullet time is big, and Ramone gets picked up, takes a lot of damage, has to stop watch under the turret, will be shifting stance through this box, though Tussle tries to get the kick, and actually might die to the turret, he does, he gets a pick, but it's a double kill for Archer, and Ramone is now in trouble. Look, and Boogie just flashes over that Emperor's Divide. It's a flipping stool, just hops over it.
That's an ace.
Double for Archer, somewhere it is, what? Dasher was still there during that. That was a huge pickup for V3. They thought they had a pick onto Archer, but he manages to get the outplayer double kill under that turret some way, somehow. And they're pushing with the Rift Tower. It's only Dasher available. He's got no wave clear. He doesn't want to sit here and fight this. There's still a Chrono Break available for Echo.
That is so much damage coming through from the side of V3. The Hawks stayed around for far too long and just got horrendously punished as we go into this replay. As we've seen, this is just Paz doing a fight against Dasher, but I mean, you're never alone. You're never alone.
Yeah, and thinks he gets the 1v1, it isn't, and then it's the, they think, well, okay, we'll need to push in the mid lane to the Hawks, but there's so much pressure on the boss. Yeah, it makes sense. But then Archer throws down the wave clear here, clears out the wave. There is no wave. It's a great hook onto Ramone, and that means, yeah, Ramone has to stop watch and is in serious trouble already. It's a flash from Tussle to get in, well, ward hop from Tussle to get in behind Archer, but still dies the turret. And Archer claims a second one behind. Then Boogie turns up, and the fight takes too long. Ramone's already low, claims that one. Braum dies under turret as well, and it is just a wash for V3 at that point. Claim all the kills, and we said that V3 could run away with this game. They're 3,000 gold in the lead. Their Echo, their Nocturne, their Misfortune are all at really big points in power. Black Cleaver Dusk Blade for the Nocturne. It's the Proto Belt Runic Echoes in for the Echo. It is the Infinity Edge Essence Reaver for the Misfortune. And Ornn's not that far away from beginning to offer some of those upgrades to these players. Paz once again finding a fight with Dasher, but it's once again Boogie being here, and Dasher has to hookshot away. It was a nice Hextech ultimatum to avoid the knockup.
It was.
But it's never going to be a 1v1. Again, you feel like Fadash is going to need significantly better ward coverage to ensure that he gets those 1v1s he's looking for. And Boogie's still not left. He might be looking for another engage. Yeah, here he is. Parallel Convergence is in behind. He's going to try and stun up Dasher, who's not even got a hook shot. He's in so much trouble. Flashes away, but passes there with the Searing Charge. Boogie picks it up. Another kill. He's 2-1-3, and yet very smart.
That convergence was so smart. It placed it so far ahead of where Dasher was expecting it to be. Kept running up and then realized, oh god, it's actually where I'm going. Oh no, Boogie, this is why everyone talked so highly of you coming into this split. And, well, mind games were played perfectly, and now they secure that mid turret as well.
And I'm beginning to see a little bit of a pattern here from Dasher, who gets good early leads, gets aggressive on this side lane, but he's getting aggressive in that kind of solo queue top laner mentality. Yeah. Thinks it's the 1v1, and I'm sorry, versus an Echo and a Nocturne, it's never going to be a 1v1. You need Tussle there. Or you need to know where the rest of the members are, and when you don't have them on screen, you can't push that way. And it's punished him again.
Yeah, he's really trying to do his best Apperman kind of playstyle. As Apperman is arguably the most the most famous player in the LJL for doing this aggressive split push, will almost always not be with his team unless he needs to be for a team fight. Even playing champions like Ornn, who have TP, really want to be in a team fight, he will happily just push a side lane.
Well, slightly to his team's detriment when it's on the Ornn, I will say, but he does it. But you're kind of right, and I'm kind of seeing Dasher wanting to do that. We've seen the mechanics are there, right? Like he's playing quite well, but the map sense as a top laner for this guy who was in mid lane last year, still not entirely there, I feel. I mean, he's still strong. Camille will still win this matchup into Ornn. It's going to continue to do so. The precision protocol true damage is a huge boon versus any tank. And of course, because Ornn is going towards what looks like an abyssal mask, it's not additional armor. So, there are things that are looking good for the Camille. But if they keep getting caught out like this, it's not going to look so good. And that's another good parallel convergence. Forces the Mystic shot, or the Arcane Shift rather, from this Nocturne, who tries to get onto the Ezreal. But the Nocturne does go down to Camille in the backline. But the Braum goes down as well. It's a 1-for-1. It looked like it was going to be significantly uglier. But Honey Flash, Arcane Shift is enough to keep him safe.
Yeah, there was a little bit of a slight misplay, I would say, by Archer there. The Misfortune ult came out extremely late and arguably slightly delayed after the teamfight had happened, meaning that now Archer just doesn't have it for any potential future teamfights, which could still happen as a collapse is looking like it could happen by Tussle.
Yeah, he thought about it, didn't manage to pick it up, but that means that... the Ocean Drake is secured by V3. It doesn't get the Hawks up to Soul Point. And that is a big deal. Boogie's going forward. He's got the Carlo conversion. He's going to get to use it. Yeah, he gets to use it. And that healing is massive. Ramone went golden. He's going to get flayed back. Does have the shifting stance. Tussle goes in and gets deleted. It's a great stopwatch.
Archer's hungry.
On the run. He's not got the flash. It's a good slow, though, that stops Archer from running forwards. Was strutting his way towards a triple kill otherwise. That's another major turnaround and a clutch stopwatch from this Thresh that saves the fight. Incoming. Ace is there. The Paranoia Express is there. The Emperor's Divide was too late. Kill picked up by Ace. It was very opportunistic. It means that there are 3 people dead on the side of the Hawks. No chance of contesting this Baron. And that is an utterly huge lead for V3 now, who are in sole control of this game.
And that is why you pick up Nocturne. This is why I think we're seeing these players play Nocturne mid. It's so when you can get these picks, you can just apply so much pressure around the map. And now because they get that kill on Ramone, there's a kill advantage, there's a level advantage, and now we can just keep pushing ahead and secure the Baron that V3 does. And my God, Boogie, what a game you're having. What a game. That mid lane fight going down to 0. Oh, we're going to see it here.
Yeah, we are. I want to see. So watch Reyna's stopwatch. It is so clutch. Boogie goes in, thinks he's going to get it, but has the parallel conversion to bring himself up to massive HP still. Ramone's burnt the stopwatch already and has to shift out. Tussle goes in thinking he's got the execute and doesn't because Reyna has the stopwatch. The auto double up from Archer is massive, and Ezreal, having burned everything already, cannot run away from that misfortune. And Tussle thought he had the pick and did not. And then watch this. Here we go. The homing missile is gone.
But that ward that they had so deep was allowed that to even happen, which was just so well played by Ace in the side of V3 that we've seen them over the last 5 minutes just playing phenomenal around different objectives, from that dragon to that mid lane, to then get the Baron, and now they're looking hungry for this topside turret.
Yeah, and the Hawks looking like they're going to fall further and further behind. It's already 7,000, probably 8,000 gold ahead for V3. Yes, they have some scaling. Like, Azir late game is pretty terrifying. He's got 2.5 items, can do some fair damage. Camille will have a win condition in the side lane, but frankly, if you keep getting caught out as you have been doing with Echo and a Lichbane and all these ornaments coming in, that's an Obsidian Cleaver and a Molten Edge in for the Nocturne and the Misfortune respectively. This could still go, well, it is going, not still go, it's continuing to go really wrong for Hawks every time they try to find an engage, because Archer's so damn strong and the Echo and the Nocturne are finding their way into the backline so easily.
And what's so smart by V3 is they're not going for these huge team fights. They know they don't need to if they don't have to, so they can just keep doing these 1 or 2 player pickups, which just forces them into staying around the map, and it just forces the Hawks to stay back map. It's just so hard for the Hawks to ever get a good time because V3 are controlling the pace of this game, and they love the pace that they've set.
Yeah, they do. And of course, like there's also this issue, right? That if Boogie goes in, he can chrono break out. If he does chrono break fairly early, he gets all his HP before the timer on that goes down. And with the amount of AP he's got as well at this point, like he can absolutely delete people. Ramade's got to be really careful. Goes in, he's got stun on the tower. I think Boogie might have this. Gonna go chrono break out, and here comes the paranoia.
Oh,
it's a
misfortune.
So Ace is here in the back, gets onto Tussle. Honey is running away from Nocturne. It's not enough. You should have feared the dark a little bit more, and that is lights out for the Hawks. It is probably it. Dasher is the sole member surviving. He can't do anything versus the grouped up might of V3. Boogie is here, dodges away with the phase dive. The hook shot doesn't even land. The flash avoids it. And Boogie's continuing to go, picks it up. Clean stuff, Ace. And that means GGV3. It's another X to Echo. Nocturne game. Ace found his way in there. Stylish stuff. What a game from V3.
And that was honestly a phenomenal showing from V3 versus the Hawks. No one is safe in playoffs. Unless you are DFM, nobody is secure. Everybody is fighting for it. We now have 3 teams in that's tied for 6th place now, because it's 3 of them, which is kind of crazy. What a state of the map. What a game we just saw.
Yeah.
Again, also, it could get even more tied up because we've experienced some losses going on. If the Hawks lose again, they could also be tied for that place. What is happening at the end of this? LJL, you know what? Everyone wants to make playoffs. You said that that we could see so many different teams in, and it is getting hype.
Yeah, it really, really is. And like, there is this deal, right, where when Boogie gets a lead early, he looks so much better. Archer and Reyna with some clutch outplays under that mid turret tier 1. There was twice where Hawks thought they had the play. Tussle and Ramane go in. Reyna flays them back. Tussle picks up, Archer then picks up double kills in both of them with some really clean stuff. And like that kind of snowballs it against them. They had this Camille in the side lane, which was looking good early on for Dasher. But when your Nocturne and your Echo are coming to make that a very uneven fight, that win condition gets shut down. And just well played by V3. Once again with a team comp, which they clearly have practiced, where you can sort of see that flex between the mid and the jungle, right, of the Echo Nocturne being you're able to shift that around for the better matchups if you need to, and Ace having a significantly better game, right? Like he found impact, really was like getting into places and doing things that we needed him to step up. Looked good on that Nocturne. Boogie ran over the game as well. Like he was such a good Echo, like man,
crazy. But this is a fact that we have said countless times on our podcast and in stream when V3 has playing. When you give Boogie the opportunity to carry on a jungler that has strong to decent early game to a late game scaling where he can put the team on his back, say, I will make the call, and that's how the game ended. Boogie went over the edge, went straight into the team of the Hawks and said, hi guys, I'm here. They're going to immediately try and collapse on him. He chrono breaks back out. What they do, because they all go on him, they use ults and everything on that, and V3 collapse on the Hawks' mistake. Boogie is probably, if not the shot call for that team, is saying how they're going to win the game on every moment. That wasn't even a 30-minute game. That was V3 saying from every moment what was happening. And I mean, I can say confidently that Boogie is definitely doing important things, as he was the most amount of damage that came in that game at 13.6k. Beating Dasher, who was on Camille, who was always fighting. Beating Honey's Ezreal, as well as Archer's
MF. I'm surprised about, because there was some big fights where he got some huge double ups and stuff.
Exactly.
But yeah, that says a lot about how Boogie can carry a game. And you know, there was some clutch outplays as well. Like let's not put Archer and Reyna behind there though. The stopwatch that Reyna used to bait in Tussle in that second tower side. The outplay onto Tussle and the Brawn bite to get the double kill as well by Archer was really good as well. And yes, there was a little bit of misplay involved from the Hawks, who kind of overestimated their ability to pick up those kills.
They did.
But, you know, GG to V3, who kind of proving they've still got life in their team and their playoff dreams are not dead. No. And that that middle of the table, those 2 through 6 spots for the playoffs are still so damn open.
I can see over this super weekend is going to be crazy. We are going to see these teams play 4 games. We still have 2 more games for you to watch, which we will be streaming tomorrow, and that's going to be Crest Gaming Act versus Sengoku Gaming, and then it's going to be the Fukuoka SoftBank Hawks facing off against Crest Gaming Act. Very important games for Crest, the Hawks, and Sengoku, really pushing themselves into these spots. These were the teams have a lot to play for going forward, because the Crest are currently with everybody else. The Hawks are now at a loss, 1 more loss, and they're with literally everybody else. And Sengoku have that 2nd place spot, but it's on a nice edge. The Hawks and Crest could either easily tie, and Crest could go back into that 2nd spot, which they've held for basically all of the league, I think. And they've only now just lost it, because they're now tied. So it doesn't quite count the same way. It doesn't have that prestige.
No, it does not, and that is a big deal, right? Like, we were trying to work out who was our last place team last night on the podcast, and we kind of said, yeah, V3 are down there. Ace is a real weakness, and once again, we said, like, maybe they have very distinct weaknesses, and we've seen that, but so do a lot of other teams in this league. And when V3 can play to their strengths instead, when Archie gets to be consistent damage, when Boogie and Ace can team up, and Boogie particularly can take a game by the throat and run people over, then V3 have more than a chance to win, and this was really good stuff.
It was a really strong performance. Our Ace on that Nocturne, we've seen 2 Nocturne games. Maybe Nocturne mid is definitely a thing over in the LJL. It would not be the first time.
Someone tweet at Verius, tell him that he should be over here with us, giving us some thoughts on the Nocturne mid. Actually, wouldn't mind. Be curious to see what he thinks about Nocturne mid players and whether they're up to his standards. Like, he'll have some thoughts to think about that, I'm sure.
We might have to tweet out over to them and see if we can get their hot take regarding that. But I think with that in mind, we have seen some phenomenal games. The Detonation Focus Me's first loss, Sengoku taking that win, V3 saying they're not dead, and the Hawks looking a little bit shaky now on a 0-3 streak now. Not looking good.
Not good.
Not looking good at all. And if it continues, they might not even make playoffs, which if you said to me 2 weeks ago, I would laugh at you. But with that in mind, I have been Alex, otherwise known as Lexi. I go by Master Swan on the internet. I have, of course, been joined by my illustrious co-host and play-by-play caster for today of Sam Hapgood, otherwise known as Initialize. His Instagram, Twitter handle is there.
Yeah.
It's hard doing it when you're trying to figure out which
There we go. Like, my camera's in a weird place here.
You can just go.
Lift my hand too high as it wears too high. But it's been a pleasure casting with you, buddy. Well done on stepping into the role. It's big shoes to fill. Of course, Naimira is a fabulous caster.
He is.
And filled the shoes with aplomb. And luckily, we'll hopefully get to cast with you a little bit more over the coming weeks as well.
Absolutely, we will have to, and I think with the Super Weekend coming up, I will most definitely be coming in, maybe trying to do you. I'm probably not. It's going to be very difficult for me to try and do some play-by-play, as I don't know half the time what's going on. I'm like, yes, things happen. This is why I'm a support main. That's why.
Yes.
Yes, things happened. I did a good thresh hook, and then I stopped doing anything.
That's the one.
But we have been the LJL Officially Unofficial crew, host, cast, play-by-play, and everything else. We do everything off our own back. We have nothing to do with Riot Games. We do have to make that clear. But thank you so much for watching, and we will see you very soon. Well, tomorrow. Thank you so much for watching. Take care, and have a lovely rest of your day.